Hello and welcome to Basic Electrical Engineering. Today we'll start the first module, that is DC circuits. The topic is the electrical circuit elements, resistance, inductance and capacitance. So first we will start the resistance. Resistor is an electrical component that limit or regulate the flow of electrical current in an electrical circuit. So if we want to write the definition, it is the component that limits or regulate the flow of currents in an electrical circuit. The main function of the resistor is to control the flow of current to some other equipments, to some other components. And the resistance is the measure of the opposition of the current flow in an electrical circuit. So resistor is basically the component and its property is called resistance. So it is the measure of the opposition to current flow in an electrical circuit. Now all materials should have some property of the resistance, and the materials can be categorized in two different parts. The first one is called the conductors. It is the material that offer very little resistance, where electrons can move easily through the circuit. So conductor is a material that offer very little resistance, where electron can move easily through the circuit. So in case of conductors, the value of the resistance is very low. Examples are copper, aluminium, etc. The other type of material is called as insulator. It is the material that offer very high or large resistance, where electron cannot move easily. That means the material which has very high resistance can be considered as the insulator. For example, glass, rubber, etc. Basically, the resistance depends upon primarily in two factors. The first one is the type of the material it is used, and second one is the shape. So the resistance of the material can be represented by a formula, that is R is equal to rho L upon A, where L is the length of the material and the resistance is directly proportional to the length of the material. That means if the length is more, the resistance of the circuit will also be high. A is called the cross-section area of the material, and the resistance is inversely proportional to the cross-section area. That means if the thickness of the material is more, then the resistance will be low. The rho is called resistivity. It is considered as the resistance offered by a material with unit dimensions. For a particular material, the rho is constant. So if the length and the cross-section area is changed, then the resistance can be changed. But in all the cases, the resistivity should be constant. The resistance has the resistor has the same property for both AC as well as DC circuits, and this property can be explained by a law that is called Ohm's law. So as per the Ohm's law, V is considered as I into R, where V is the supply voltage, I is the current flowing through the circuit, and R is the resistance. So this relation is satisfied for both AC as well as DC circuit. It can be applied for both AC as well as for DC circuits. Now from this expression we can find current, that is V upon R, and so on. Now resistor is a particular circuit component that cannot store the electrical energy like capacitor and inductor, that will be discussed later. But when the current flow through a resistor, then the electrical energy is converted to the heat energy in the resistor, and this can be represented by the power and the energy formula of the circuit. So the power of a purely resistive circuit can be represented as V into I, or it can be written as I square into R, and that can be also written as V square upon R. These all relations comes from the Ohm's law, that is V is equal to IR. And the energy, that means when the electrical current is flowing through the resistor, the electrical energy is converted to the heat energy, and this energy can be represented by the formula I square R into T, where T is the time in seconds, and this can be also written as V square by R into T. So you can use any formula. Now in a particular electrical circuit, sometimes we can see that the resistors are more than one resistors are connected in series or in parallel. Suppose there are two resistors of resistance R1 and R2. The current is flowing from positive to negative side. So in this case, if we want to calculate the total resistance of the circuit, then the total resistance will be equal to R1 plus R2. That means when the resistors are connected in series, the equivalent resistance will be their summation. The second type of the connection is considered as the parallel connection. Suppose there are two resistors of resistance R1 and R2, and they are connected in parallel, and the current is flowing. Now in this case, if we want to calculate the equivalent resistance, so the equivalent resistance can be calculated by this formula. 1 upon R will be equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. If there are more than two resistance, then it will be 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3 and so on. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Ohm's law. As per the Ohm's law, the relations between the resistance, the current, and the voltage can be represented by this symbol, where the potential difference is represented by V. So the current will flow from positive terminal to the negative terminal, and if R is the resistance of the branch, then we will write V is equal to I into R. and I is equal to V upon R. So if we know the potential difference across a particular branch and if we know the resistance of the branch, then we can easily calculate the current that is flowing through the branch. The next circuit element is called inductor. Inductor is a passive electrical component. Passive component that can store energy in the form of a magnetic field. So inductor is a passive element that is used in electrical circuit and that is capable of storing the electrical energy in the form of magnetic field. In its simplest form, an inductor is considered as a coil of conducting material, and that is represented by this symbol, where the property of the inductor is called the inductance. It is represented by the symbol L and the unit is called Henry. The inductance is directly proportional to the number of turns in the coil. It can be seen that an EMF generated in a conductor by changing a magnetic field is proportional to the rate of change of magnetic field, and this effect is called the inductance. So let's say through this inductor we pass a current I. So when the current is flowing through this inductor, it will develop a magnetic field and this magnetic field will cut the inductor itself. If the current changes with respect to the time, then according to the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, an EMF will be induced across this material V. So the relations between the voltage and current in an inductor is represented as V is equal to L di upon dt. If there is a rate of change of current flowing through an inductor, so the EMF will be induced in the inductor. Remember one thing, the inductor can be used in AC circuits only, because in AC circuit we know that the current changes with respect to the time. Then only we will get the voltage across the inductor. But in case of DC circuit, the current is constant. So di upon dt will be equal to 0. So no voltage will be induced across the inductor. That means the voltage across the inductor will be equal to 0. And this is considered as the short circuit case. That means if we use the inductor in a DC circuit, it will behave like a short circuit path. The power developed in the inductance can be represented as P is equal to V into I, where small p represents the instantaneous power and that is the product of instantaneous voltage and current. And it can be written as Li di upon dt. As I already discussed, the inductor is a passive component that stores the energy in the form of magnetic field. So the energy that is stored in the inductor can be represented by a small derivations. We know the power is equal to rate of change of energy, d omega upon dt, and power can be also written as Li di upon dt. So from these two relations, we write d omega is equal to Li di. Now integrate both the sides. It should be L integration I di. So finally we'll get omega equal to 1 by 2 L I square. So that is the formula of the energy which is stored in an inductor due to the changing current. Now the combination of the inductance in a circuit. Inductances can be connected in series as well as in parallel. So let's say there are two inductors L1 and L2 connected in series. So their equivalent value will be their summation. So L will be equal to L1 plus L2, like resistive circuit. Similarly, for a parallel combination, if two inductors are connected in parallel, L1 and L2, then their combination can be found out from this relation. L is the equivalent equivalent inductance, so 1 upon L will be equal to 1 upon L1 plus 1 upon L2. It is also same as that of parallel combination of the resistances. The third electrical component is called capacitor. It is a passive two-terminal component. It is a passive two-terminal component used to store the energy electrostatically. In an electrical field. So capacitor is a passive element. It can store the electrical energy as a static charges in an electrical field. The main function of the capacitor is to store the energy and give the energy again to the circuit when necessary. It is basically the two conducting plates that are separated by a dielectric medium, and when an electrical field is applied, then the electrical energy is stored in it as a charge. The capacitance is the property of the capacitor, and it is the capacity of the capacitor to store the charge in it. The symbol of the capacitance is C, and it is mentioned in by the unit farad. The symbol of the capacitor is the two plates are separated by a dielectric medium, and if the voltage is applied across the capacitor, then the charges will accumulate in the dielectric medium in two plates. And when the capacitor will discharge, then a current will start to flow. The voltage and current relations of the capacitor is represented by I is equal to C dV by dt. That means the current flowing through a capacitor will be the rate of change of potential difference across it. Remember one thing, capacitor cannot be used in DC circuit, because if we use a capacitor in the DC circuit, then the voltage with the DC circuit is constant. So therefore dV by dt will be equal to 0, and then the current will be considered as 0. That means it will work like a open circuit, because in open circuit no current can flow. So from this point we can conclude the behavior of the capacitor as well as the function of the capacitor. It is basically used to pass the AC current, and it can be used to block the DC current. The power for a capacitor is represented by V into I. Instantaneous power P is equal to V into I. Or it can be also written as C into V dV by dt. As the energy is stored as a static charges, so that can be also derived. As we know, P power is the rate of change of energy, and this is equal to CV dV by dt. So we can write d omega is equal to CV dV. And if we integrate both the side, then we will get W is equal to half C V square. So this is the formula of the energy that is stored between two plates of a capacitor. In an electrical circuit, the capacitors may be connected in series as well as in parallel. So when the two capacitors are connected in series, let's say C1 and C2, then the equivalent of this combination can be represented by 1 upon C equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2, where C is the equivalent capacitance. So it is like the parallel connection of resistance or inductance. Similarly, for a parallel combination, if two capacitors are connected in parallel, let's say C1 and C2, then their equivalent value will be equal to their summation, C1 plus C2. It is like the series combination in case of resistance and inductance.